So with our handsome Mr. G, I know you guys were mentioning that he is having some trouble sometimes relaxing in sort of like a bubble that you guys are spending time with together, but then also at times in places where he has to then take his nap period. So I would recommend for helpful setups for like a crate or the corral is that for some puppies, if they are very easily stimulated or distracted when someone gets up to go to the restroom or goes to do something in a sort of area where people are sharing a space, you may have more luck with a calmer bubble. So some puppies do better when they are created in, like, let's say another bedroom. This doesn't mean to like do the cried out method. So it's not so that way your puppy is there and then whining and then we just ignore their cries for help. But it's more so that way they don't become stimulated by us maybe doing our daily routine and then interrupting their rest period. Some dogs also do an awesome job having like a noisemaker. I'm just going to see if I can grab a little chew for him. So the benefit of having like a noisemaker is that you can then, for example, have it with some white noise, or maybe it could be other sort of neutral but comfortable sounds. I know you guys mentioned he normally has the TV on when he's trying to go for his naps, and he'll sometimes stay, like in the crate for about an hour before sometimes he does start to stir. I would recommend that whenever he is spending some time in the crate, you might even want to do shorter little intervals in the crate. So if we know his tolerance for right now is about an hour, maybe 45, 50 minutes in, maybe you nonchalantly go over and you open up the crate, bring him out for a potty, maybe set him up with special chews he hasn't had all day. And then if he's gone to the restroom, he can either hang out in that safe bubble with you guys supervising, or maybe we have a moment where we can expend some energy for him. And then he could go back to his crate or his corral, where then again, he's not getting into mischief when you can't supervise him the whole time. This again, I know we discussed puppies need between 18 to 20 hours of sleep a day. So I would highly recommend that if he's getting overstimulated while he's trying to take those rest periods, maybe a quieter bubble, like you guys had mentioned, could be a nice setup for him. The other thing, though, is I would highly recommend to take a peek-see over the videos I had sent along prior, not the ones that we have made with him, but the ones, for example, from Kiko Pup. She has some great videos on creating a settle exercise, on working with the pen or corral setup, or even the crate, and making sure that those environments are not by accident turning into potentially a negative or the beginning of separation, and Jimmy could lead to more anxiety down the road. So obviously, creating, just like with anything novel, we want to make sure we're going at the puppy's rate for success, but also not making it overwhelming. There could be moments where crates could become negative. So for example, if your puppy is really struggling with a setup, if your puppy is having a hard time as we disengage, remember that if crating tends to always equal, for some folks, you're going to bed in the sense of you're going away, or that you're leaving the home and then to the crate we go, the crate starts to be the precursor to you dissipating. So I know you guys are working from home, so you are there and you are available to hang out with the handsome guy. I'm going to see if I can grab a few more snacks just from his other little room that he hangs out in as well. So because sometimes, and don't mind me, I'll be right back. I'm just going to grab a few different chews. So for the handsome guy, if again, he's really struggling, even in the bubbles that you guys can hang out together, saving some special items for those moments together may not be a bad option either. So always think, just like with little humans, I know at times he does have special chews, which are great, but we may find, okay, maybe because he's overstimulated or overtired, he's having a harder time crashing and taking a little break. So, but sometimes putting out a few novel items he hasn't seen in a while can be something to help him diffuse his energy off of you or the environment onto the appropriate items. So we may find that, I know that one of you guys has a smaller office, one has a little bit of a larger office. You guys may also find what can be helpful is using a tether. So for some puppies, corrals work great. For others, baby gates, crates. If though, for example, he likes to be in the bubble with you at times, then I would recommend to sometimes use a tether system, because you would want to practice with it. Don't just all of a sudden hook him up and say, see you later. It would all be supervised. But you may have it where, okay, maybe we'll tether him to this little section of the room. That way he can't come and bombard you while you're mid-call or mid-meeting. And maybe you give him that frozen Kong or that puzzle toy or that buffalo horn or bully stick he hasn't seen all day. And then you work on some relaxation. This might be something you guys want to practice when it's the evening and you guys are done with your work, is start practicing giving him special chews. And while you're busy doing something else, he's sort of stuck in that bubble. So you're still there able to supervise, but it's then going to help him be unable to reach you the whole entire time and start building up that vegging in that spot still could have value. For the handsome guy, though, is if he is struggling, he could be also going through a teething phase right now where a lot of those baby teeth are starting to get loose and wiggly. And because of that, his mouth is probably even extra uncomfortable. And sometimes licking is easier than chewing. What is it, Ebba? Okay, 1 second. So if, for example, when you're working with him on the crating, this, again, if let's say your puppy's having a hard time and they're whining while they're in the crate, or they're whining while they're separated from you, even though you might be in the same bubble, if you go over and open the gate or open the latch to the crate as they're whining, your puppy may think that the whimper and the distress is what also got them out. So I don't want to, again, have your babies, ready, sir? He's like thinking about eating the camera station, the tripod. So if, let's say, for example, your babe is really struggling and they're having a moment, you will want to practice even doing some crate games for fun. So for example, let's say your puppy, he's going to be waking up from his nap, or he already did, and he's whimpering. I would then, the moment he's quiet for just a little second, go yes, and then toss some snacks in the crate through the door or through the wire, depending on what type it is. And then while he's busy eating some of those snacks and doing the find it, then you can open the latch, and when he's almost done finding it, then he would nonchalantly come out. But if, let's say, he goes into whining or barking and has a really hard time, I'm not saying we want him to stay there and struggle, because cry it out doesn't work well for any species. But if the whimper and whining is what opened the doorway, then he might start to do that more often to try to come out and be joining everybody while they're doing their usual. So puppies sometimes have a hard time missing out on stuff, just like others, people, and as well as littles. So going and practicing, bringing him to the crate, feeding for while he's in there, and have him come on out. It's very similar to working the beginning stages of that position of the place or bed exercise. So you guys may find that, maybe practicing with the crate, and as opposed to doing, puppy push-ups or working name recognition, we spend a few moments throughout the day having fun going into the crate. There are some other great options too for crate toys that can attach to the crate. So that way you could leave the crate door open, and while he's practicing to enjoy that snack, it happens in there. What I've had other folks do is take like a Kong toy. If, let's say, you don't want to invest in getting a few more items for the pup right now, is you can take a regular Kong toy, take a little rope, tie a few knots at one end, loop it through the Kong almost like you're sewing, so the rope gets stuck at the very smaller end of the Kong. And then you can take, for example, a carabiner clip, tie it very tightly where there's very little gap between the Kong and the carabiner tied on. Fill the Kong with a higher value or something he enjoys, and then freeze it, and then clip it to the side or the back of the crate where the puppy would have to go into the crate or the corral to enjoy it. So as opposed to being able to bring the item out with him, he could then have the crate door open, he could have the corral door open, and then while he's enjoying that lick, he's practicing going in there and vegging and having a nice time with it. So the benefit of some of these practice moments is the crate is not instantly closed, the door is not instantly closed to the corral, and it can start to equal that when you go in there, good things can happen even when you're still in the mix with everybody. So we may find for Mr. G is obviously pacifiers for the win. But it could also be that maybe we're not getting him a little bit more tired. So I'm not getting him so tired that he's overtired. But let's say, for example, he loves playing with the flirt pole, or he likes playing tug, or he likes to do some other types of fun games that are doggy centric. That could be a great way to create some of this softer puppy time, because his exercise and mental energy has been expended. So we don't want to do so much where he is so little in developing that we cause lameness, or, having trouble while as he's growing, he's doing too much work. But I feel that for some puppies, some of those outs are not given. And then it turns into, I'll just try to gobble up everything around me. And some of those behaviors then get exaggerated because they don't always have the outs. So even though we do try to supply a lot of great puppy chews, ready, Gus, come. Then the problem there is, though, he's like, lady, but I still want to go find out something else. I think there's a crumb that fell over there. So if, let's say I tried getting his attention and he was a little bit unsure, I'm going to get a little bit closer, see if I can get his focus from here. Gus, come. And then help him out. So I don't like to repeat myself over and over with a recall, or like trying to get focus back on me. The most I'll do is like one try and then a second try from half the distance. So that way, if my puppy was really struggling, I don't want them to hear me saying something over and over and have it lose its meaning. So if, let's say, he was really lost because maybe there's turkeys in the yard or there was some big noise, I wouldn't keep repeating the skill, because I know he's probably not going to be able to rock it at that point. So if your babe, you think they're about 80 to 90% certain they're going to do well with something, go ahead and ask for the skill. Otherwise, go and help them either achieve the behavior you were hoping or redirect them away from the thing they would not do so well with. Nice job, sir. So I would highly recommend for the crating is maybe try a quieter room, maybe try with a noisemaker or some soothing music that helps sort of soften the environment so he doesn't pick up as many novelties, like with you guys moving from your offices to the kitchen or the restroom or whatever it might be. But then also try to make sure that we're practicing settling before we need it. So if we are not sometimes capturing some of the softness throughout the day, your babe may find that they have more fun when they are being rowdy, if that makes sense. So make sure that what we're engaging with are things we want to keep happening again. Or if they're really struggling, how can we set them up for greater success in those dynamics? So but Mr. G, sorry, my brain's melting. So Mr. G is doing a very nice job with his progression in doggy day school. But maybe some of those videos my way from you guys may not be a bad option, so I can see what is going well and what's not going so well in the household. But splendid job he's doing. We'll give him a little breather so he can take a potty break and a nap, and then we'll rotate through some more behavior and friends.